Hello and welcome to the Bourbon Bear, and feels good to have him, but we got Naysh on the show today. How are we feeling, Naysh?
Lukey, happy to be back. Been too long.
It's been too long, and we're hot off of Bondo's bets, 0-4 after a 6-0 week. How have you been doing betting this way before we even go into Bondo?
I'm going to be honest, looking at Bondo's board, he's certainly a higher percentage than I am. I've been having I'd say inconsistent NFL year, but definitely not 11 over 500, unfortunately.
This is shocking because normally everyone said to fade Bondo, and
yeah,
this year he's actually stepped up, and we're auditing him, doing well.
Historically, the Bondo fade has been good. I just do want to comment on that Week 6-0. I mean, talk about square side after square side, but hey, Bondo, congrats. Winners win, money is green.
To Bondo, the best there, and we'll have a video from him tomorrow. But so starting the topic for today, though. The NFC North, the Bears are coming off a bye, but the NFC North as a whole has looked fantastic. Point differential-wise, they're above every division in the NFL. Record-wise, above every division in the NFL. It's going to be a gauntlet once we play Green Bay in Week 11, but what are your thoughts on how this division is going to unfold?
I mean, I think, it's a little bit inflated. We haven't really beat up on each other yet. That doesn't take away from the fact I still agree, best division in football, no doubt, but that record will work its way down. I mean, there's been Minnesota beat Green Bay, and then Detroit just beat Minnesota. Only 2 division games played this year.
I'll say it right there, though. Us playing later in the conference, season, as a whole, that's going to help us in the long run, I think, because this defense is built for the long run, in my opinion. We don't have many injuries. We're coming off a bye week where we're going to get, hopefully, Britzker back and Gordon back. Not sure if that's official yet, but knock on wood here, this defense is built for the long haul.
Yeah, I mean, and even with Caleb, too, not having to get thrown in the NFC North gauntlet to kind of come up. I mean, played awful in the Titans game. You do that against, Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay, you're not winning that ball game. So the schedule, aside from being easy, has certainly worked in our favor with it being backloaded. I mean, even the next 3, all winnable games before we go into the 8-game gauntlet from hell, essentially.
And what I'll say about, you said inflated, I agree with you. I think Minnesota is overachieving expectations right now. I think we're going to catch them on the tail end when things start to go south.
Yeah.
But overall, before we get into the Bears, this week, record prediction for the NFC North. When do we hit it?
You mean closing through the season?
Through the season. A lot of people are saying they're going 3-3, which I would be totally fine with. I think the Minnesota game is, games are 2 winnable games.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think 3-3 is a fantastic result.
I would take it.
I don't know. I can't sit here and say that I think they'll do any better than that with how good the division is. I do agree. Minnesota almost has to come down just with how they've started.
Agreed.
But I mean, if you play the division 6 times in 8 games toward the end of the year, if you split 3-3, sign me up for that.
Aiden Hutchinson being out though for probably the year based on injury did not look good. Does that the Lions? Came out swinging the next week, but do you think that hampers them against the Bears? I think that solidifies a 1-1 against them.
Yeah.
We were at the Bears-Lions game last year, heartbreaker in Detroit.
We don't talk
Beast
about
tour,
that.
Beast tour.
We don't talk about that.
But do you think that maybe changes the scales of how the Bears are against the Lions?
I mean, it certainly helps, right? He's he
was our sack leader.
He's he's arguably one of the best pass rushers, if not the best. Him being out certainly is a benefit to the Bears. Does it really, affect the outcome of the game? I don't know if I'm going to sit here and say that.
That's where I disagree, though. I think it might, though. But, that's your best pass. If we lost Sweat, I feel like all of a sudden this defense isn't going to be what's going to be. Don't get me wrong, Detroit played great without him.
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But that's still a huge loss.
I mean, it is. I'm not questioning that at all. But, I mean, if we look back last year, the Bears split with Detroit with a bum quarterback, and honestly, the Bears were not a good team last year.
I completely agree.
Hutchinson didn't record either of those games. We should have won both of those games with him. So, obviously his loss hurts, but, the main thing with Detroit is stopping them, as opposed to, blocking Aiden Hutchinson, no easy task. But, if one of their offensive weapons are out, I think that'd be a little bit more of a factor.
Well, and you have Monty and Gibbs, and the Bears have been a little bit... I don't want to say they've been terrible against the run, but not great.
A little shitty.
Let's be real. We can call it shitty at that point. Defensively, our one weakness is probably the run.
Yeah.
And Javon Dexter has been fantastic. The D-lines look great. Secondaries look great. Linebacking core, I think, look great. But again, the run's our weakness. So we get to Detroit, I'm with you. That's going to be where we struggle.
Yeah.
But then turning it over to the Packers, because that's where we want to go 2-0 against.
Oh, God.
I thought for sure they were going to lose one of the games with the backup in, and they didn't.
Naturally.
It's just going to be another just frustrating season against Bears-Packers.
I mean, I'm excited with how the Bears started. We've had a soft schedule. We haven't really... We haven't beaten a big boy team. I'd love to sit here and say that I feel great the Bears are going to go 2-0 against the Packers, but they haven't done that in 47,000 years, so I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to sit here and say they're going to do it now. Again, I feel like a 1-1 split is fantastic. What that comes down to, going back to winning games with Malik Willis, LaFleur is such a good coach. As much as I hate him and I hate the Packers, that dude can coach football.
I agree.
And he is just going to run circles around Eberflus. No matter what is going on in the situation, maybe the Bears win, but, how can you sit here and say we're going to win both those games when we are at such a coaching disadvantage?
And you can't, and Murphy said some harsh words about Eberflus when he was on this podcast.
Oh, he should be fired. Yeah.
You can't say that, though, when he's 4-2.
No.
Fire head coach.
Well, not mid-season, but, I've been on the record of the opinion for quite a long time that he's not been a good coach, and I did not want him back to start this season.
So I will say I did want Harbaugh, but right now you have to say who you can get. We can't dwell in the past. It's what the president...
No. Yeah, I'm not upset with how the season started, but looking back,
the Rams game, I'm a little upset still. Also,
win's a win, but if you think about it,
sorry, not the Rams, the Colts game.
Yeah,
the Colts game.
Yeah, but even the Rams game, they should have won that by a lot more. But his MO, the first year you can kind of throw out, they were just terrible, but he has really never beaten a team that's been better on paper than the Bears. They beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and they lose to the teams they're supposed to lose to, generally speaking.
Fair.
And that's a sign of kind of a bad coach, right? Well, maybe not a bad coach, but your coach, if you're a very good coach, you win when you are the worst team on paper. Sometimes, McVay beats teams that are better than him regularly, guys like that. Matt LaFleur wins with Malik Willis.
I agree.
Things like that. Eberflus doesn't do that. Again, hope I'm wrong, would love to be wrong moving forward, but I don't, Bears are going into a big game, I haven't seen anything aside from Caleb being the man that really changes that fact.
So while we're still in the NFC North, though, I think we're now at 8 wins at home if you count the Jags game, because I don't like
in a row,
because it's
yeah.
Literally was at a home game.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of Bears fans that were out there. But he has been delivering at home, which a lot of people in Chicago appreciate.
For sure.
Soldier Field, seeing this team actually do well.
Definitely. Defensively,
though, I have the stats here. So we're 4th in points allowed, 5th in total defense, 3rd in takeaways, and 14th in sacks. If Eberflus' job is to be a defensive coach, though, you got to give him credit for that line.
No question. He knows how to coach defensive ball, no doubt about it.
So you're saying more of the league has become so offensive that you can't have a head coach.
It's not even that he's necessarily he doesn't need to be an offensive coach. It's just the way they scheme, offensive or halftime adjustments, things like that. He could clearly coach defense that. The proof is in the pudding, right? But he doesn't really. Again, he doesn't beat teams that he's not supposed to beat. That, in my view, is a sign of a good coach. Whether he's bad or average, that's another conversation. But I just haven't seen it from him to be I feel great about Matt Eberflus in a big game.
I'm going to go in the memory bank here. What do you think his best win as Bears head coach has been? That's a good question. I actually did not come prepared with this. I'm trying to think now. Because I remember when they were worst team in the league, they beat the Patriots still. But I would say probably one of their most impressive wins, just as a team at scale, was probably Jacksonville. Just because they came out and ready to play. The end score wasn't what it was supposed to be, and they destroyed them. Carolina, I guess you could throw in there too. But going to London, beating the Jags that bad, having that good of a game, offensively and defensively, that might be one of the best coach games we've had.
That was a very complete game. I will say a noticeable change is, you're supposed to kick the shit out of bad teams when you're a playoff team, which the Bears historically have not done, and they've done it a couple times this year, which is certainly encouraging. I think it's a little problematic that the best win might be against a terrible Jags team. We can't think of back to my point.
That's fair.
Maybe when they beat the Lions last year,
that's true.
That'd probably be the best win of his tenure, quote unquote. But again, the list of marquee wins like that, they're just not there yet. But there's plenty of opportunities.
So before we get into the Commanders game, though, we have to talk about how this offense is kind of turned the corner. Caleb, the first 2 weeks, I was nervous he was going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
It was going to be Caleb concussed, Justin Fields 2.0, and I was like, okay, what are we doing here? Mm-hmm. The line has stepped up, the run game has stepped up. What do you think really changed about this offense as we especially go into a game where we're going to have to put up points?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a few things. I mean, the obvious one is just Caleb growing, right? Like, rookie QB, more reps you get, the better he's going to be. So that's the most glaring improvement. I mean, on that note, too, I've seen enough that not that I wasn't knowing before, but, like, already the strides he's made in 6 games are just insane.
Oh, it's astronomical.
It's insane.
It's getting unbelievable. And I think, realistically, he's feeling more comfortable in the pocket. The line's starting to figure out how the protection works. Mm-hmm. Wide receivers are getting more of it. I mean, Keenan Allen, the 2 touchdowns last week were fantastic.
For sure.
Do you think Rome Odunze starts getting more involved in this offense, though? We're sitting at, I think, 260 yards-ish.
Yeah.
He needs my over-under to be 640, so I'm still
rooting. And he's at 260?
Game. He's about 260 right now. I need him to have, like, an off game, like a
a big game.
Good game.
Yeah.
You think that's still in the cards?
I mean, for sure. There is only one football. I will say Keenan Allen, he's already missed a few games. Historically, he's been banged up the last few years. Maybe he misses a game. I mean, whether or not Rome gets his stats, honestly, I don't really care. I think he's very good. It's a good problem to have that we have 3 good receivers, and Komet's been having a great year again. So I think as the season progresses, him being a rookie too, like, he'll just feel more and more comfortable. So you would think that would lead to better stats as well.
So speaking to Cole's point there, that play against Jacksonville where they did a delayed throw to Cole, which led to a touchdown. Is Shane Waldron figuring out how to use all of his guys? Because right now it feels like he's starting to click. But this game, again, will start to tell us if that was a one-time wonder or if it's about to be the Bears' offense is going off.
I don't know that I've been more turned on seeing a single offensive play in the last, 10 years of Bears football.
That was the coolest thing
I was almost literally speechless. That I was like, holy shit. We schemed up an unbelievable play that made us look smart, and it made us look like we had a real offensive coordinator. And, I mean, even him, too, the first 2-3 games, he looked a little overwhelmed and lost.
Oh, yeah. Completely agree.
I mean, obviously I was upset. I wasn't exactly calling for his firing or saying he was bad hire or anything like that. But, when you have a rookie QB, Rome was a rookie, basically wide receiver 2 while Allen was out, line was in shambles, you got to give a little room for the OC to get cooking, too. And it seems like he has.
And I'll agree with you 100%. Mm-hmm. I'll give Caleb, though, the throws he made to Keenan Allen in the end zone.
Yeah. Oh, my.
Unbelievable throws. Keenan Allen, great catches, by the way. But that was just a well-drawn-up play that the Bears typically don't have on offense.
I know.
So that gives me a lot more faith in what Shane is doing for this team.
I mean, I think he's really kind of figured it out, too. And whether this is just media play or not, about how, they're in communication all the time in meetings talking about how Caleb and the receivers think they can improve.
They had the captains come.
Yeah, I mean,
we're gonna
Mercedes Lewis really drove that home.
Oh, yeah.
But
just 2 full starts already.
Yeah, but I mean, whether that's fully true or a little bit true, clearly something has changed. So as long as you kind of just keep progressing forward, I don't have any reason to think the offense will take a step back. And I mean, Caleb's only going to get better each game he keeps playing.
And I know rankings mean nothing when it comes to total offense or total defense, but right now the total offense is 24th in the league, so not great.
No.
Let's be real. The defense won the first game, clearly, by getting a block punt and a pick six. Mm-hmm. Would not have won the game without it. Where do you think this offense winds up, though, in the middle of the year in terms of the NFL average?
I mean, I think from a success standpoint, if you're about average, if you get into that 15-ish range by the end of the year with a top 5 defense.
We'll get into that in a second.
Even if you stay top 10, you don't need the number 2 offense. I mean, maybe Caleb is just that damn good, and it turns out that way, and that's great. But I don't even know that you need that. If you just keep making progress, you get toward the middle of the pack, maybe a little bit above average offensively, I think that'll kind of get you where you need to go for what we have right now.
So before we get into defensive players, though, Caleb Williams obviously doing very well right now. I mean, his confidence has to be through the roof. 4 touchdown game last week. Mm-hmm. Panthers, was it 3? I think 3.
Yeah.
2 to DJ. And
I think it didn't. Did Komet have one? I can't remember.
Maybe Cole had one. But regardless, coming off a very good back-to-back games.
For sure.
His confidence through the roof right now. Mm-hmm. You're starting to get, I guess, I'll call it 3 more layup games before you get into the meat of the schedule.
Yeah, for sure.
Not including Washington. Washington, I think, is going to be a good game. But then you have
Arizona, New
England, and who's...
No, that's it. Then we're into the gauntlet. Yeah.
Okay, that's the gauntlet. So, how do you project he's going to play against the NFC North? A lot better defenses. Not going to be a lot of these, Bears have one of the easiest schedules, strength schedule.
I mean, it'll be... The Lions' D is not that good. So...
I disagree.
I mean, they're not an elite pass defense, especially without Hutchinson, I don't know how Fields kind of moved the ball against them last year twice.
True. That's true.
Not saying they're a bad defense, but that's not a D that really instills fear into me. However, early Thanksgiving kick in Detroit, that's a hell of a venue to go into. Vikings and Packers again on the road, both good defenses. It'll be interesting. I mean, he's not going to be perfect. There's going to be some interceptions, and I just want him to stay aggressive, right? I don't want Bears going into these tough road environments and just kind of packing it in and getting conservative.
And I don't think they'll do that, to be honest with you. I think they want Caleb to let it rip because me and Murphy disagree that I think the Bears need a playoff spot just to get experience for the playoffs come this year. You have a fantastic chance with the schedule we have coming up to go 10-7, make that 7 seed.
I think 10-7 is very attainable.
Very obtainable. Mm-hmm. That would be great for just his career development. Yeah. Especially next year, I think the Bears front office is going to go all in. Sign whoever you have to sign. And then if Caleb delivers throughout this stretch, you have to.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean,
rookie QB on a rookie deal.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're sitting at 4-2 right now. They have 3 winnable games coming up. Let's say conservatively, if you want to be a playoff team, you got to win 2 of these next 3 minimum.
Minimum.
So that puts you at 6-3 or maybe 7-2. I don't know if I'm going to sit here and say they go 3-0. Which game do they lose? I don't know. But it's the NFL. Sometimes bad teams beat good teams. So let's say they're 2-1, 6-3 with the 8-game gauntlet. You split with the division, 3-3. Niners, Seahawks. You split those. That gets you to 10-7. You're a playoff team. I think that's realistic.
And the NFC West, I was terrified at the beginning of the year. The Niners look vulnerable.
They do.
Everyone's banged up.
They do.
Everyone's hurt. Seattle loses games they should not lose, and the Bears are one of those games I feel like they could lose because it's a game you shouldn't.
100%.
That's a guaranteed 10-7 record right there.
Yeah.
Even if you lose one, slip in division.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, in my view, that's a successful year. I also don't see a scenario where they're 10-7 and not making the playoffs.
I think you have to at 10-7 with how bad the NFC has looked.
And I agree. And even if they go 9-8, that might even sneak you in. It'll be close.
That's where it gets weird.
I mean, we'll see. You never know. But I mean, I'd say 9-8 is kind of the floor for a quote unquote successful season. Anything worse than that, I think that's a problem. And I think that's the final nail in Matt Eberflus's coffin.
That was going to be my next question. There we go.
I mean, he might get fired if they make the playoffs.
So you think with a winning record at 9-8, he would get fired?
If they miss the playoffs?
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree with you. That's a hard conversation. I don't know if that's a yes or no, guaranteed, but that's a hard conversation.
There is a difference in what I think should happen and what I think would happen.
Would happen, yeah.
If he went 9-8, I don't think he would. I mean, I still think he shouldn't have came back this year, so I'm obviously biased.
Lovie Smith got fired at 10-6.
Right, I agree,
It happens.
I agree. I mean, I don't know. How do you get a better coaching cycle than you had this last offseason, though, right?
Yeah, that's where it gets weird. It's especially when you knew you were going to draft Caleb. They probably...
You got to align.
They may have done the wrong things, but now you're stuck with who you are, and we have to live with that, which is fine. Which is why I think if he has a winning record, you can't really fire a winning record.
I agree. I mean,
it's tough.
I think given the state of the Bears and where they are, something pretty catastrophic would have to happen for him to not return next year.
I agree.
Whether you agree or disagree, I think that's just kind of a fact at this point.
Well, I have high expectations about when we play the NFC North, mainly because this defense, I think, can win you games single-handedly.
I mean, Goff sees... It's the boogeyman when Goff goes into Soldier Field.
That's fair.
He does not enjoy that place, especially if it's cold out. I mean, I just have no faith that we beat the Packers, because why would I? Because we never do. And then...
I think we at least split, though.
I mean, I hope so.
Standing by.
I hope so, man.
I think we will.
I mean, on paper we should, but I mean, I am so just...
Traumatized by the
I am traumatized by it. I don't know why I would have any faith that they would ever beat the Packers until I see it. Realistically, they should split with them.
I agree,
but it's also the Packers, so I don't know.
So getting into defense though, because again, the offenses in the NFC North look fantastic, and I want to go more diving into the week we have coming up. But Javon Dexter was asked to play the 3-tech, which, as Eberflus claims, you need the perfect 3-tech to make this defense work.
Yeah.
He's got the most sacks on the team. He's looked fantastic against the run.
Mm-hmm.
Is this everything we've been asking for?
I mean, he seems to really fit the bill. I mean, the defensive line has been overall, I think, a lot better than I expected. I mean, Taylor has just been a godsend, too, not to change topics, but it's like Dexter has clearly taken a step. He's having just a fantastic year. Billings has been good. Taylor's been
Billings
good.
Is Mr. No one gives him credit.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. And then, of course, you have Sweat. So it's like... And I was a proponent of, I felt like we were pass rusher short. I still think that might be true. But Taylor's filled that void for now.
Taylor has filled that void. And I'm a little upset Austin Booker hasn't been more involved. He's got 1 sack in the year, so he's getting a little bit more involved. But I thought Hard Knocks, I guess, that's the overreaction for Bears fans. She's not really been there yet. But learning from Sweat, learning from Taylor, I mean... I'm hoping that's a long-term play that we have going on. Even if it's a third-down pass rusher, it's fine.
I mean, I think it's a testament to how well the line's been playing, right?
True.
Him not getting the opportunities is almost a good thing because the line has been playing so well.
I mean, Walker's been in there, too.
Yeah, I mean,
he hasn't got the sacks, but he's been
I mean, I'm not a huge DeMarcus Walker guy, but, I mean, he's been serviceable. He's been fine. I mean, Booker, I think, can be good, but let's level set. He was a 4th-round pick still. Or 5th-round pick, excuse me.
Fifth-round pick, yeah.
It's not like he was, a first-round guy with immediate expectations.
Agreed.
So,
and I again, that's buying into the hype. That's my fault there. But going to the linebacking core, so T.J. Edwards has been our tackling leader right now at this point of the year.
Dog.
Fantastic pickup. You're paying him a quarter of the money you're paying Tremaine Edmonds. Mm-hmm. Was that a bad signing?
No, I mean, I don't think you can really call Edmonds a bad signing necessarily. I wouldn't call him bad.
I'm not going to call it bad. No, contract value.
No, I mean, has he lived up to his contract? No, I would say okay, I would say he's not.
We agree.
I think he's off to a little bit better of a start this year than he did last year. He had a bad year last year for what he was paid.
Agreed.
I think he's having a better start for sure. I mean, it comes back to the Roquan conversation too.
Getting the second and paying him, I understand that completely, so I agree. But Roquan has looked fantastic.
Oh no, I've been of the opinion the Roquan trade was a bad trade. I still stand by that.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm starting to agree with you a little bit more here.
I mean, last night or Monday night, he had I think 23 tackles or some shit.
He's looking
crazy
out there.
And I'm not, and I know we got Dexter and all that stuff as a result of some moves of those trades, but still a first team All Pro at linebacker. It's that dude is really good.
He flies the field.
I mean,
oh my God.
They generally replaced it via Edmonds and Edwards in combination for the same value, fine. But I'm not going to sit here and say those two guys are better than Roquan because they're not.
No, and I agree with you that the fact that we got Dexter is if it fills a 3-tech, it's kind of almost worth it at this point.
Yeah,
you're not. You got him. You're paying Tremaine. It's fine. But the secondary is really the heart and soul of this team.
I mean, so
right
good.
Now.
So
they are so good.
So good.
And it's scary how good they are.
So good.
We luckily happen to fall, and we're going to get into the Commanders game right now. We happen to fall on a bye week where you had Gordon out, or Gordon,
Hammy
injury during the Jags game. And then you had Britzker out with concussion. Britzker is still
and
not
Stevenson.
practicing.
And Stevenson was out too.
And Stevenson.
Yep.
Britzker is still not back to practicing yet. A little concerned there.
I'm a little concerned. He did not practice today.
Did not.
Gordon did not practice today.
Is it Elijah Hicks that was our backup?
Safety,
yes.
So
for
Brisker.
He was fine. Had the interception.
Yeah. He was fine. I mean, it seems like coming off the bye, I said to myself, Stevenson, Brisker, Gordon. We get 2 of the 3 back for Commanders. That's fine.
And I think everyone else stepped up, though, during that game. So I think the people know their responsibility. We're at a point, the defense just as a collective unit, pass rush works, the line works, the linebackers work, the secondary works. You can plug and play, but I don't want Brisker to miss too much time.
I agree.
It's a little concerning if you're out for 2 weeks of concussion.
Which would be 3 at this point with the bye. I mean, I'm still of the opinion I would think he's probably going to play. if he doesn't practice tomorrow, today's Wednesday as we're recording. If he does practice Thursday, then we get concerned. Until then, we'll see. I mean, Gordon is such a stud too. It doesn't seem like he's going to play. But Terrell Smith, who's been the backup nickel, who's been out for a while, he appears to be back. Another good depth guy. But, I mean, I think it all boils down to how good Jalen Johnson is.
Yeah,
and just, like, you just put him on an island, and you don't have to worry about it, and you can just... Not saying the other guys are bad, because they're not. But, like, having an elite corner like that just makes your life so much easier.
Even now, he's starting to get more picks than he normally does.
Yeah.
Because literally, like, he's still shut down, don't get me wrong, but it's been fantastic. But the lick in the Panthers game that Brisker put on, I understand why he self-reported that concussion, so I understand.
I don't know. I don't even know.
You're here for the long run. You're here for the long run.
I don't even know if he put on that hit. That was more on the tight end. But
it's true. He dropped his head.
Both of them, like,
it was just like, oof. So I'm glad at least you reported, so like, we can have him for the long run. Because if he was just like gone, then,
So I mean, hopefully he'll be back this week. If not, we'll see. I mean, if we get Mariota, which I think we're going to, not as big of a deal.
So now we're going right to the Commanders game. So the Commanders, the B store will be there. We're due for a win.
Take notes,
I
folks.
actually
Get
told
ready.
my boss this. Are we 1-8 or 1-7?
I think we're 1-7.
1-7.
The only win we had was my debut in Arizona, which was arguably the worst game we've seen the Bears play outside of Tennessee.
I'm blanking. A Bryce Callahan interception.
Yeah, it was late. It was like
going back to Bears history here.
It was like 19-13. It was disgusting ball game.
So I think I don't even want to say we're due for a win. I don't want to jinx it, but what are your expectations of the Bears? I don't want to say Mariota's playing right now, but we can act like he is because I think Jane Daniels is not ready.
Yeah.
But overall thoughts, though, on how this game's going to go?
I mean, I'll stick my neck out. I don't care who the quarterback is. I think Bears win that game. I also don't think Daniels is going to play from what they've been saying. When you classify someone as week to week, the odds of them playing that first week are slim, especially when he's your first-round rookie quarterback. So I'd be surprised, but I'm not a medical professional, so read that disclaimer. But I mean, if it's Mariota, like, you gotta win that game. Like he, you know what he's gonna do? Like, he's okay at best, probably good backup, has the experience, but he's not gonna take the top off like Daniels can. He is mobile, but again, not to the same degree. So I don't know how they're really going to move the ball super efficiently against this Bears defense.
And I agree with you. I think their offense will struggle, and it's going to be the Bears obviously getting flexed to a 330 spot.
Hate it.
How are they going to handle that? It's not even pressure, but like in their heads it might be. Cole even announced like this week that I want to play more in these spots.
Yeah.
I don't know if I love that, to be honest with you.
I mean, we know primetime Bears and how that usually goes.
Exactly.
But you know, it's also 3:25. It's not like we're on Sunday Night Football here. True. So let's just take a step back. It's the Commanders. It's not like we're going into like an elite, Pittsburgh or Baltimore or Cincinnati crowd or anything like that. Like, it's still the Commanders. Like, I don't know that stadium is really going to intimidate the shit out of you.
So I'm going to play the if game, though. If Jane Daniels plays.
Yeah.
I think the defense is going to play against their first... And I guess we played Anthony Richardson, but I don't think he's that good.
Bum.
This would be your first true test about containing the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
If we were playing him, I'd be a lot more nervous. I'm assuming, to your point, he's going to be out.
Yeah.
That would have been a good test, though, of this defense to see how they can contain that type of quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about, like, I want Daniels to play for the test. I'm like...
I take a win.
Yeah, I was going to say. I agree.
Take the goddamn win.
I was too deep in Bears Twitter today, being like, I want Daniels. Like, we want the test. I would rather have your kicker play quarterback than face a good test. Like, it's the NFL. I will take an easier path to get a win every day of the week.
Especially if you make the game easy in terms of like the offense.
Yeah.
The Washington offense struggles.
Yeah.
Save your guys like time, like when your backups and you're up.
Well, let's not get there. I don't know if we're going to be blowing people out here.
I'm saying more of like the Bears people that are like, oh no, we need to play the team. No, you don't.
We got plenty of time.
You need to be healthy going into the end of the season.
Yeah.
Whatever you have to do on that front, do it. But
I agree.
I'm just giving the hypothetical. If Daniels did play, That would be a good test of the defensive line, which we need to see. Linebacking core, again, spine quarterback. And then secondary, again, I don't have any concern with the secondary outside of injury. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I don't either. It would have been interesting to see how they faced Jaden. God, I would have loved to have seen him throw 2 picks into that Bears secondary while we'd be on site. That would be...
Some of the throws he's made to Scary Terry have been fantastic, though, and I want to see him against Jalen would be a fantastic match.
It would. I mean, we're going to get it. It just depends who's throwing it to.
I can't count it the same, though, you know?
No, I agree. I agree. I mean, I think on the other side, like, the Washington defense doesn't exactly drive fear into me either.
Can you name half... give me 5 names on the defense.
Well,
I probably could.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
normally I know this too.
Yeah, and their best deal. I mean, Jonathan Allen out for the year too. He was hands down their best player.
So not playing them.
So I mean, I don't know why.
Is Payne still there? Or no?
Yeah, Deron Payne's still there. He's good. I mean, they're a decent defense, but again, it's not like they're elite. I don't know that they're going to give Caleb and the boys a ton of problems. So I hope we need to not turn the ball over, take care of the ball. If we do that against Mariota and our defense just kind of plays how they've been playing, I feel pretty good about it.
So before we get into the keys of the game, though, I did want to bring up the offensive line, though.
Favorite topic.
Not my favorite topic. The tackle play, I think, has been
better,
decent to good.
Yeah.
Decent being serviceable.
Yeah.
Guard play seems to be getting a lot better, though.
Yeah, I mean,
it's shocking, but it is.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's crazy to see what happens when you bench bums like Nate Davis. Again, I mean, credit to them for doing it, right? Like, we've seen this regime. No, this is not like tirade or anything, but like we've seen this regime commit to their mistakes too long a couple times. So I'm glad with Davis they did not. They're looking to trade him. I don't know who the hell would trade for him.
Why would
if you get any sort of draft compensation from anybody, do it.
Would you take a 6th round for him?
Yes. Yes.
I kind of want the depth.
No.
You think just take it?
He did.
What are you going to do though if someone gets hurt though?
He didn't even come in as the backup.
Colin.
He didn't even come in.
I agree with you. He's
so we don't even need him for depth. He's not even the backup guard anymore. Bill Murray came in and played serviceably. Like
Bill Murray played great.
He did. But I'm saying like he overtook Davis as the backup guard. So like clearly he is not part of the plan. And screw the money, whatever. If you get a draft pick for him, make the trade.
At this point, the money means nothing.
Right. So make the trade. Any sort of draft compensation, 6th round, 7th round, I will help him pack.
So what do you think about Jenkins though?
I mean, Jenkins has always just been like inconsistently talented. Honestly,
the Bears were talking though before the season started. We will not discuss a contract extension until the bye week. We're at the bye week, so now it's a weird limbo. What do you do?
Yeah, I think you got to wait till after the season. I don't know. Again, he's always kind of banged up. Like he has really good games where he looks like a cornerstone guard. He has some games where it just looks okay. I mean, I think overall, I think the talent is there. I think I've seen enough that he's good that I would like him to be re-signed in the offseason.
Why don't we just give him the same contract we gave Nate Davis? 3 years, $30 million. That's literally exactly what he's worth.
Because
I think he would take that.
Yeah.
Because with his injuries, he wouldn't get anything better. But are we winding up in the same Nate Davis situation is the issue.
But my point is, I don't know the benefit to the Bears re-signing him right now. Like, wait till the season ends. Like,
but he starts to play better, then you put yourself in a hole.
I mean,
that's a good price for a guard. 3 years, $30 million.
He's already been playing fairly well. It's just his injury history. I
can't disagree with that.
I think the risk versus the reward. I think it's prudent to just wait till the season ends. And see if you can make it through the rest of the year without getting hurt.
Because what do you think the franchise tag on a guard is, though?
I have no idea off the top of my head.
I couldn't tell you either, but I think if you get him that price, it's probably cheaper.
I mean, it's not really a good business to be franchise tagging guards on the offensive line, so I don't know that the Bears would even consider that.
But if you look at the team as a whole, where else are you going to use the tag? I mean,
you don't have to use it. Ideally, you don't have to. Ideally, you don't want to use the tag, right? I mean.
But I don't want to walk into a situation where he starts playing better and then you can't get a contract.
But I mean,
and then you have to use.
The Bears are still in such an advantageous cap position that if he pays well and you have to pay him more, that's great. Like that means he had a great year and he's good. Like if you have to pay him a little bit more as a result of that, like That's fine with me.
But now you're getting a conversation about Braxton Jones, though. When are you going to decide what you want to do with him? Because I think there's a good chance the Bears might, we've got capital. Drafting linemen's probably going to be the move next year.
I mean, Braxton has been fine.
I think he's been good.
Yeah,
I think you can give above fine.
He's been slightly above
He's not
average.
Great. He's not perfect.
Yeah.
He's in good tier.
I mean, I'm of the opinion that 9 out of 10 really good playoff teams have an absolute just elite stud anchor left tackle.
If you're going to treat him to like the 49ers and all that, like I agree with you, but he's been, for what we got in a 5th round pick, he's been exceptional.
Totally agree. Like, great value where we drafted him. However, I would love to bring in just an elite, whether it be sign or first-round draft pick, left tackle. We're not going to be able to do it via the draft without some sort of trade.
Why not, though? I feel like this year we probably would land a great left tackle spot.
You mean if we trade up?
No.
I mean, you think we can get an elite tackle at like 20?
I think so.
Maybe.
I think so. I feel like that's not an unrealistic expectation.
No, but I mean, by that point, you probably have 4 tackles off the board, and you're getting the 5th-ish.
Well, I know this year, and I don't follow college as well as you do. It's not a great quarterback year, I've been told.
No,
not
definitely
a great wide
not.
receiver year, but I still think you get a very good tackle at that point.
Maybe.
I think it's not out of the question.
Maybe, but beside the point. However, I do think we need to upgrade from Braxton Jones in the offseason as opposed to paying him. I don't know that you need to do something stupid to get a left tackle. If the way it shakes out, you can't get one in the draft and you don't see a free agency move that makes sense, maybe resign him, fine. I would prefer that to not happen. I'm not saying he's been bad, I just think there is room for improvement, and people could be like, okay, he's been good, sure, but that doesn't mean you can't improve. And I'm of the opinion that I would that's a spot where I think it's a very valuable position.
I agree.
The Bears have the room to spend. I think that's a spot you kind of get aggressive and go all in on.
And I mean, the Bears draft capital, I don't want to go too far into this because we got a last season to go, but Gardner Powers-Johnson, I think that's his name.
Yeah.
I thought trading up for him would probably been a smart move. Just settle center position.
Yeah.
It's fine. Didn't do it. But you have the Carolina pick, which I think would be a prime spot to get a center. Best center available.
100%. I mean, that's such a luxury to have that pick.
Exactly.
I mean,
it's fantastic.
That's going to be a top 5 round 2 pick, worst case scenario.
I would even say
it could be the first.
Pick.
Right. But in the worst case scenario, it's a top 5 second round pick. And it just gives you so much versatility to...
You could trade.
You could trade it. You could package it. Whatever you want to do. It's great to have. To your point, that does feel like a spot where you could maybe take a guard as opposed to a tackle.
Well, I'm thinking more of just solve center this year, in this offseason.
I know.
And don't get me wrong, the center play this year, it's actually been better than I thought, but we keep plugging and playing these short-term contracts. Mm-hmm. Get a rookie that you can just develop with Caleb.
I'm in agreement.
With Caleb.
Yeah,
that's all I want.
I'm in agreement. I mean, Poles, for being the offensive line guru that he claims he is, has certainly...
We can never figure out. Fitzpatrick, one of the best linemen on the Saints right now. It's oh my God.
I mean, he's a bum. I don't care if he's been okay. Lucas Patrick sucks. But, I mean, the line has improved, thankfully, but it's the best case scenario, as constructed, this offensive line is average.
No, I completely
at
agree
best.
With you. We've been playing, again, bad teams.
Yeah, so that needs to
they
be...
They look better than they really are, but
Yeah.
once we play the meat of the schedule, that's when it's going to become a problem.
That needs to be addressed in the offseason heavily. And I think they will. They have the money to do it. I don't know why they wouldn't. I will say, I wouldn't hate a trade if the price is right and you see someone who's looking to shed assets this year to get a lineman. I don't know what that looks like. It's very rare that you move linemen at trade deadlines. I get it. But if for the right price, why not?
It's just weird to configure that, though, in the middle of the season. Hey, we'll throw in a guard here.
Yeah, it is.
But we're running out of time. So 3 keys to the game, though. Give me your 3 top matchups to watch, your 3, I guess, overall thoughts about what will happen in this game.
I think key number 1, Caleb's got to not turn the football over.
I agree with that. That's fair.
1 interception, fine. Maybe that comes with territory. But I think Bears got to win the turnover battle. Especially if it's Caleb versus Mariota. You got to hold that advantage. 2, I think Bears run D against the Commanders is going to be critical. Especially if it's Mariota or Daniels running QB. They've kind of been running it well with Robinson and Eckler. I think stopping them and putting them in third and long situations is going to be very significant.
Can I stop you on this key? Because I agree with you. That is the biggest key to my mind.
Yeah.
Eckler is that little scat back that always finds a way to beat the Bears.
Yeah.
And I hate, we always run into that, where some little shit just runs around and, like, a linebacker loses him.
Maybe 5 years ago, I'd be a little more scared of Eckler.
True. I mean, same idea, though.
Point remains.
So go to point 3.
No, you're good. And I think the third final key to the game is, beast towards energy in the stands.
Bears.
Of what's going to happen. But all kidding aside, I mean, coming off the bye, Bears have had time to prepare. Commanders are coming off, kind of a cakewalk win against the Panthers. Crowd's going to be rocking, no doubt. Daniel sits. I think that is obviously an advantage in his play, but takes the crowd out of it even a little bit more. I think, bottom line, you want to be a good playoff football team. You're coming off the bye. You're potentially facing a backup quarterback. You're generally healthy. You got to go win this game.
I will say, by the crowd, by the way, I think a lot of Bears fans are going to be there. I think it's going to be a decent amount. Yeah. Commanders, I feel like, never have the full weight of the stadium.
I agree.
And Bears fans travel well.
I mean, we know we travel well. We're getting on the flight in 2 days. It's, less than 2 hours. I think it's going to travel well. So we'll see what happens, but I'm excited.
I'm excited by that. But also, final score prediction of the game, because I'll give you mine too.
Okay.
You show your mind, I'll show your mind.
You want me to give a Daniels Mariota score each?
If you don't mind, actually. That's good to have on the record.
Let's start with the Mariota score, because I think he is most likely to play. I'm going to go Bears 31, Commanders 20.
Okay.
I think if Daniels play, we'll go 31-24 Bears.
Oh, man. So we're almost aligned here. So I would say Mariota, I think the secondary, and this is, I guess, if Brisker plays, though, I guess I didn't factor that in that he might not play. But I think the Bears win with Mariota 32-14.
Oh,
I'm going to give a huge
big one. Big one. That's a big one. That's a big one on the road.
But this is where it gets unique. If the Bears play, Jaden, I think they win 23-21.
Close one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think he just covers the hook. I think that's why the book has it at 1.5 right now. Yeah. And I think there's a chance he plays. I think that's why they did it.
What's your I'm gonna flip the script here. What is your favorite? Because we'll be thinking about this on site.
Prop bets.
One Bears prop bet and first touchdown score.
First touchdown score. I really want to go Keenan Allen. I want Keenan Allen. We love Monty, but when we had Monty, God, he was so automatic. God, I miss Monty. If I had to go, I'm sorry, Commanders first touchdown?
No, any Bears prop bet.
Anytime?
Yeah.
Oh, Cole. Yeah, go Cole anytime.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think first touchdown, this can be a good bet. Roshan Johnson at the goal line. I think he comes in for a goal.
Good odds on that.
I think that's a good. Write that down at home. Go put some pizza money on it.
I'll throw money on
Roshan Johnson, first touchdown, Bears.
So we don't like Rome first touchdown. I feel like Rome is like low key what we should be doing, and we're just not going to do it.
Hey, I'm subject to changing my mind once we're on. Once we breathe.
Once we see the odds.
Once we breathe that Washington D.C. air, things can change. Things can change.
And that's all the time we have in the Bourbon Bear today. Bear down.
Bears.
Bears.